7, 2011. In the new request, the words electronic format were added, I believe.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further comments from council members?
Real quick, Madam Chair, am I to understand that we're already under an extended period, so there's really no need for us to act on this until after the June deadline?
It is our contention that this is an extension to June 7.
Through the chair of the city attorney, are we encumbering any cost for these FOIAs, in your opinion, and man hours? Is your department, I noticed there's IT department's been getting FOIAs. Marcia Jamores, I think, is our assessing office. Keith Sadowski, our city council's office, and also your office. But are we encumbering a large cost with all of this? Would that be the reason for the extended time? Our man hours are behind? I know we're short one person, I think, in the attorney's office as it is.
We've had a blizzard of FOIAs, over 60 by Mr. Liss himself. This certainly slows down the process. And it does, recently, because Mr. Papandrea is not here, I have had to become more involved in this process, and I've committed our office to collect any money that would be due under the FOIA.
Do we have any record of how many FOIAs we received in the past 3.5 years versus the last, since 6 months? Because it seems like we're getting a large amount from one individual lately. And I understand what you're saying. It's a rare occurrence, and it is rare. You know, so I mean, is this a normal occurrence of FOIAs that we get on a weekly basis?
There's been a marked increase in the number of FOIAs this year, I believe.
And in your opinion, is it costing the city money?
Of course, it costs the city money anytime they process FOIAs.
And currently we can wait till June and not have to act on this because of the extension.
I'm just telling you what happened. There was a request by Mr. Liss. It was submitted, same request with the exception of the words electronic format was added, and that request was made on 5/13, and we've extended that date to June 7th, 2011 for an answer.
Madam Chair.
I don't know how to word this, but of those 60 FOIAs, is there, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, what are we looking for here? Usually, I'm not a judge or an attorney, but usually I know when a warrant is issued, you have to, have a reason, or state a reason for a warrant, or you get a subpoena to gather somebody's evidence, whether it be a computer or emails. There has to be a specific, I guess, request. I don't know what the 60 FOIAs are for, so I don't know how I can vote on that. I'm kind of curious, are the FOIAs open for council to look at and determine where the line of questioning, I guess, Mr. Liss is going for? I mean, even in a courtroom, I think a judge would ask for where's the line of questioning going. Do we have access to that, or is that something the council just has to vote on without knowing what the FOIAs are for? I have not seen the FOIAs. I don't know if any other member of council has. And I don't feel comfortable voting on something I don't understand.
Mr. Bachman, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
First of all, I think there needs to be clarification. What he's asking to be appealed is the first one that was denied. It's irrelevant that he filed a second one, and that's one still pending till the 7th.
But we have till the 7th, so
No,
I guess
that's a separate one. The one that was denied, he wants to have that appealed. There is another one that's still pending, but I mean, it might be even the exact same request, but he is asking to appeal the very first one that was denied, period. What's happening with that?
And it has been extended
is irrelevant.
till the 7th, so we could have resolution by
No.
the 7th.
I have one, I filed one, it was denied.
So we could do it 60 times, is what you're telling me, if they're all denied?
Yeah, he can file that as many times as he wants to.
Then do we...
And then with the freedom of information,
Right.
he doesn't have to show any basis of what he's looking for.
Okay, I
It's the
understand that.
freedom of, well, you're saying that a judge
That's
usually
what I was
says
asking
what direction we're
clarification for.
going.
Do you have to, do we as council get a right to see what he's asking.
I don't think it's unreasonable that we ask to see what it is that he's
that's
looking
all.
for, but I don't know that and I think that's what Mr. Burnett was trying to say, is the reason for denial was that it was too broad.
Okay.
They felt it was too broad, and because he didn't identify a specific thing, they would have had to copy, I guess, the entire system.
That's what I was getting at, because it would cost us a ton of money to copy everything on a very general request.
Right, but anything that's done
Okay.
on city business is open to public scrutiny.
Oh, I agree,
They FOIA.
100%. I was just trying to narrow the cost down so we could save some money. Thank you.
Unfortunately, you've been excused, so I can't allow you to come.
I'd have to pay for it if it was approved.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Vogt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One, I would imagine this could be done electronically, so there would not be a ton of copying. And when you make a FOIA request, the city can, and we have a FOIA policy, to charge for the copies, be it electronic or paper, hard copy. So it should not cost the city a great deal of money at all, because the person making the FOIA request has to pay.
And I would agree, but the judge has been using his own time, and I know he's paid.
I have the floor.
Right. I would agree with you, except that the judge is...
Ms. Vogt, I'm sorry, Ms. Vogt
Yes.
was pointing out the fact that she has the floor and hasn't finished commenting.
Okay, thank you.
And I didn't ask a question that required an answer. And I think public documents, when they are requested, should be provided. And very often, part of the reason for a FOIA request is because we're not receiving documents we should.
Right.
And by way of example, when we held our study session last week, and we requested certain documents to be provided to us, and they were some spreadsheets that Mr. Melsick had prepared, and he told us we would get those. I didn't get mine. As far as I know, no one else did. So now what do? We've asked for it. We all asked for it. We were promised we would get it. A week has gone by. We haven't received it. And all it took was email it with an attachment to all of us. So now we do a FOIA request so that we get that those, I think there were 2 documents. What are you supposed to do? If the city administration is not providing information that's should be given to us without a FOIA request. I mean, we're still waiting for the list of vehicles and who are the drivers that we requested. We all voted on 9-0 a year ago. Still not here. I think Mr. Liss is entitled to it. I guess perhaps the FOIA should have stated from the date Mr. Fouts took office until the present, but I think jfouts@cityofwarren.org, it's kind of implied. So.
It's kind of a what?
Implied. Thank you.
Any other discussion, or can I
Madam
vote?
Chair, just real quick, my cost was not about the copying.
Can I give Ms. Comartin an opportunity?
Absolutely, but I would like to respond.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We talk about open and honest government and being able to access information. And I know when we went through our last council, there was quite a few council members that were upset that they weren't getting the same documentation that other council members were getting. So I think it's vitally important that we keep that open door and honest government policy, and that why should a council member have to FOIA any information? I don't think they have to or should have to go through that. If there's documentation on the budget, why should some people be privy to having a meeting and other people not? Same type of format. I don't think that's fair in any way, shape, or form. I don't think if the shoe was on the other foot that any council member up here would like that. So I think really if you're going to ask for information, you should be entitled to get it. You shouldn't have to go to this extreme to get any public information. So Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Bacamino.
Yeah, and I would agree with everything that's just been said. My only reference to cost is the man-hours, as the treasurer and the water department said. It's the man-hours that we use to enter data that is the cost. Certainly, that's not reimbursable. Mr. Biernat's, or Judge Biernat's time and the attorneys that were already short on, their time is not reimbursable. The IT department's time is not reimbursable. The assessor's time during this tax crunch is not, her time is not reimbursable. And I understand that we have a right to this. As Judge Biernat said, though, this is a rare appeal. Traditionally, it would be through the circuit courts, and that's where my original statement said if a private citizen FOIA'd and didn't get their way, most people would go to the circuit court at a cost to themselves, not to the city. And I have no problem with this, but I would wonder why we couldn't do it that way, since this was initiated, apparently, by Mr. Liss. I don't know why, but that's all I'm going to say. There is a cost to the city. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair, if I may, going through, I'm sorry, Mr. Stevens. Going through circuit court would be more expensive than bringing up to council.
Mr. Stevens.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was going to address that. In fact, I believe that Mr. Liss's, what he's trying to do is bring it to the public body and or in another form of government. It would be the city administrator. He still has 180 days to appeal from that to circuit court, which there is no filing fee or anything in circuit court for FOIA on that. One of the things, and like I said, I'm confused as to what he wanted already. So I don't believe that he correctly identified what he was looking for. But beyond that, it says here in 15.240, section 10A, submit to the head of the public body a written appeal that specifically states the word appeal and identifies the reason or reasons for the reversal of the denial. His request doesn't do that. Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call the question. I have a motion by Ms. Vogt and a support by Ms. Comartin. Ms. Vogt.
Yes.
Ms. Comartin.
Yes.
Mr. Bacamino.
No.
Mr. Green.
No.
Mr. Sadowski.
No.
Mr. Stevens.
No.
Mr. Warner.
No.
Camp, yes. The item passed 5-3.
Next agenda item is adjournment. Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Mr. Sadowski.
Can I have a point of clarification?
Madam Chair.
You said passed? Yeah. Did it pass? What was it?
I apologize. It failed.
Okay.
5-3. I have a motion to adjourn by Mr. Sadowski. Any support? Support by Ms. Vogt. All in favor?
I'm pissed at you.
Those opposed? The meeting has adjourned at 11:29
I
p.m.
voted no, Madam Chair, for the record.
Mention what?